Hello everyone and welcome along to my channel. What I wanted to do for this first video was do a brief review of the DC Direct Batman Chronicles statue, which I believe came out around about 2010. This is a really nice piece. It's not certainly a high-end statue like you get with XM Studios or Legendary Beast Studios. By comparison it's a fairly crude piece. However, it really captures the 1930s look of Batman very nicely. In particular, I like the use of the belt we have here, the old school utility belt which I've always loved, particularly the circles in the middle of the belt buckle, and they've really captured the Bob Kane style ears on the cowl. This statue came out as part of the DC Chronicles Batman line, and DC Direct at the time were very good at producing a lot of statues and action figures, really to support to support what they were doing in the comic line. So you get a lot of really cool artists based statues, and I'm really pleased to have this Golden Age Batman in the collection. The Golden Age Batman was one I've always felt was quite cool. This is a really retro 1930s vibe about him. He was lean and mean, he was down and dirty, he wasn't a science fiction hero by any means, he was more of a brutal vigilante, certainly more than the Batman that we know now. However, I really like the design. I always thought the design was very cool. As I say, I like the retro aspect of it, and also like the fact that very clearly it's a man in a costume. It's not the overly stylised version that Christopher Nolan went with in the Dark Knight trilogy, nor is it I think the version a lot of people are familiar with from the Frank Miller costume. I really like the design, and I think it's a really nice statue. It's not a big statue by any means. It's approximately, I would say you're looking at approximately 10 inches high. And you've got the two-tone colour cape there, which was canon to the 1930s, and also you can't fully see it, but you've got the blue gloves, which was something that you got in the 1930s, 1940s Batman. So it didn't have the fins on the forearm, and it was very much something that came in the late 40s as the design of the character went on. Certainly, if you're someone who has got a lot of space solutions, this is a fantastic piece to own. It's something you can't really get in the shops now. You've got to look at the secondary market, such as eBay or Facebook, but I was very lucky. I managed to pick this up from an overseas seller who got it to me in one piece, thankfully, and it sits really nicely in my collection. It goes along very nicely with another Golden Age Batman statue I have, and I like the fact I'm able to represent the old school Batman in the collection. I've been collecting statues for 30 years. This month actually, and in that time the hobbies went through a lot of changes. Back in the day when I started out, I started with the Warner Brothers Studio Batman Forever statues, and I will do a review of them. And the first one I got was the Two-Face statue, mainly because Two-Face is my favourite villain, and I never thought I would get another chance to have a Two-Face piece. And to be quite honest, I just thought I'd maybe get one. Here I am 30 years later with well over 150 statues in the collection, and that's the aim of my channel. I'll be showcasing some of the older pieces I have, as well as highlighting what I've got in my collection room, or the Batcave as I call it, and hopefully I'll be able to showcase a couple of the pieces I've got coming in. By way of a preview, I've got the legendary scale Beasts, Superman and Batman coming in, and I cannot wait to get those. These look absolutely fantastic, and if the reviews from the community are anything to go by, I think we've got a new industry standard on our hands here, which is good. We need new statues, we need new providers. We can't just be relying on XM and Sideshow and Prime 1. I'm really glad that Jay and his team at LSB are stepping up, and hopefully we'll see the results of that in the channel in a few weeks. All I can really say in closing this is a really nice Batman. It captures the Bob Kane era Batman very nicely, and if that's something you are a fan of, I would heartily recommend that you seek this statue out. So until next time, all the best. We'll see you later. Thank you very much.